The source I am analyzing for my video essay is 12 Years a Slave. This source is a historical drama film and a biographical adaptation based on the 1853 slave narrative memoir, 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. The film was directed by Steve McQueen, a black British director known for centering the perspective of the enslaved. The movie was released in 2013 and then went on to win the Academy Award for Best Picture in 2014. The film begins with a free black man named Solomon Northup, living in Saratoga Springs, New York around 1841. He worked as a carpenter and a violinist and raised a family with his wife. Northup was then lured to Washington, D.C., under the impression that he would work as a musician, but was then betrayed, beaten, and sold into slavery. He was then transported to a cotton and a sugarcane plantation in Louisiana owned by William Ford and Edwin Epps. Northup was enslaved there for 12 years before regaining his freedom in 1853. The film exposes how race in America was a political invention to determine who can be a citizen and who can be property. Going back to Module 1 and Dorothy Roberts' The Invention of Race, she argues that, quote, race was literally manufactured by law. She shows how historically law, science, and commerce work together to invent race as a political system to justify inequality. You can see this happening through the destruction of North's free papers, through the denial of his testimony, and the commodification of his body. In the film, Northup was in Washington, D.C., and says, "I am Solomon Northup. I am a free man." And Birch beats him and says, "You are a runaway slave from Georgia." Then goes on to destroy his papers. His papers were destroyed because, in the political system, blackness itself was the evidence that he was a slave. Another connection from the film to the reading is Dorothy's argument that race is a political category that changes depending on the invented rules. So, for example, in the film, he is considered a citizen in New York, but in Louisiana is considered property. Nothing about him changed, but the law of race changed when he traveled to another state. I can also relate this to Module 5's lecture about the Japanese internment. After the Pearl Harbor, the government incarcerated every single Japanese, regardless if you were a U.S. citizen or not. Although these are different time periods, the idea is still the same and shows how freedom is conditional and revocable. In the film, there is another character who is also affected by the inequality of the political system. Patsy, a woman who was also a slave on the plantation, is Epps' most productive worker, yet her value as a laborer gives her no rights as a person. She was repeatedly raped and abused, but had no legal right to protection. But the law protected the slave owners. So her body, just like Northup's free papers, shows that they were the objects the law was written to control. How can I use what you learned in this class at work? I've learned a lot from this semester. I've learned that race was historically invented to justify who can be a citizen and who can be treated as a laborer. I work as a technician in the automation industry, and I work with many immigrants. I've never realized how much inequality there still is, and how often I see this at work. A lot of my immigrant coworkers do the most physically demanding work, and a lot of them work long hours around a lot of machinery. Many of them are talented, yet a lot of them are underpaid or afraid to speak up because of their status. Due to the language barrier, many of them are immediately judged and not given a fair chance as some of my other coworkers. I can use what I've learned to advocate for my coworkers who deserve better work treatment, regardless of their race, I treat everybody the same. I never assume someone's values based on their race or status.